because it's your life, your body. You can change it. You see, it's tempting to want to try and control it. That's what the I will do to keep you in the game. It's going to try and get you to attach to the story. I am my life. I'm going to control this. There's no one's living anything. There's no one has a life. There's just source. There's just life. But this thing, believing it was this, and I have it's my life, my body, my. It attached to these things. So it was my past, my mother, my this, my that. It's just a story. So this is what's releasing. If this thing weakens or falls away, there's nothing, there's nothing holding on to it. So those ideas like time, past, my story, my mother, I was born, anyway, it's got nothing to cling to anymore. No energy holding on to it. It's being released again. You see? To flow freely, because you attach to that. Ooh, it's mine. If you release this mine, whew, it hasn't got anything. It's not sticking to anything anymore, like magnetic, because it's drawing the energy to energy, because you were not drawing to that energy. So it's like relaxing back into nothingness. So what you perceive as time, as separate, as past, as my life, my story, it happened to me. This is what it's so strange people don't understand. Like, I laughed yesterday about this, story and the doctor and going through this, and I'm like, no, first of all, that didn't happen. Exactly. That was a thought that's fed into the mind. This happened. Pattern. You see, I was sick, my body, this and that. And I was like, no one had a life. There's not, and when you realize it isn't, because these are only concepts you're creating, I shared 2 videos, Bashar, yesterday. This is so much heavy stuff. Especially when you begin to perceive it and see it, and as it falls away, you can absolutely know it's just like absolutely. This is that I was saying about a week or 2 ago, and I think some people maybe didn't get it. And I was saying, this is why I was like, no, this is nonsense, because every day in the story is a complete new. That's it. There's no thing actually. There's only those thoughts and those things that you can, make up. So you can create a new story every day. And that's how Joe Dispenza, people think he's doing something, how it's working. They think the individual's doing something. No, it's because there is no person, there is no set thing, there's no matter. It's only story, it's only concepts and thoughts that this fake one is grabbing onto, you see. So this is how you can change the story, because it's just a story. It's like, no, I don't want it. That's the past, your past. You would think. They say they're changing it. It's because it's not there. But this is why it takes, depending on how strong the story is and the momentum, it takes more time, because you've got to push, because you've bought into it, or it's a pattern, or it's happened before and before, because you keep attaching to the story or that same thing. It has more momentum, more energy behind it, so it's much harder to break that. So it can take 40 days of real wow, and you can feel that energy. It's extremely difficult to come up against that energy when you try and resist it or fight it. They're trying to say no. You try and break that momentum and pattern. It's very difficult. You find it is very difficult when you get energy, because it's actually energy, yeah. It's really, really, because everything's just energy. There's nothing but energy. So when you do things like that as a perceived person, there's no such, anyway, that's not very good. It creates a massive amount of, you would think, as dense energy. You get a real pushback. It's like, wow, Jack, you hit a wall. It's very, very difficult to push through it, because that's exactly what it's done. It's just momentum of energy that's built up, you see, because it'll keep feeding the whatever stories and thoughts you've used to, or you've attached to. Yeah, okay, I like that one. I'm making that a story, because that's what you're doing. You're creating a story, actually. This is all this thing is about. It's creating a story. So it feeds thoughts down, or they're just floating out there, basically. There aren't any, there's no, I'm saying there is nothing and no one. So things are just out there. You are grabbing onto time, and that one, and you're making a story out of it. Okay, time, gravity, planet, yeah. And that's it. You're creating a story out of absolutely nothing. So if it's all relaxed, poof, it's all let go back into nothing. And then you are that source. You become back into nothingness, into source. You see, let's not holding on to concepts, belief, stories, because that's all they are. So it's, think about all those energies you've now put together to make your story, a world, people. My past, my mother, well, I was born, yeah, okay, you had a baby. That's fed to you anyway when you come out. Oh no, you were born, you know. Anyway, interesting. So perceiving it or seeing that is fascinating. Because sitting this morning, and you just relax, and what I perceived was, because there's no 0 point, this illusion, this so-called thing that thinks it's a separate person, there's anything separate from nothing, there's no people, it's a separate person, it's an energy, it's all is fading away. So if there's nothing here, then there's nothing for those stories, my past, my life, my this, my that. You have no life to attach to. There's no one. You don't have a life, a body, a story. It's appearing there's a body, a story, but it's not yours. So when it's released, when that relaxation happens, what you see is nothingness, and that. It's like these things, which you believe are your life, are just floating around. But now they're separate ideas. So you'll see my past and that, and then my this and that and that. They're just, so they're free now. They're being released. So possibly this is what's going on outside. Apparently going on outside, right, with people. Is that because there's nothing, if you don't hang on, there's nothing to hold on to anymore. There's a shifting. It's being released. See, the past and stories are changing. So they let go. So they're moving through. So it's so strange. I can't, because it's just, there's no one. The thing thinks it's not. It's the source. It's only source experience, so-called watching. Never mind. Spirit. That's what I say. This thing, it's my love, my this, my. But there we are. So it was really interesting, because all that was perceived was this nothingness, and then these, they all, how do I even describe it? I don't know, because they weren't, nothing's matter. So it's very difficult to try and translate what is seen or perceived, That's why people say they can't talk about it, because how do you explain it? Nothingness, and then these things were floating around in nothingness. They weren't matter, they weren't holographic. I don't know how to describe it, but there's how do I even describe it? Who's watching? If it's an awareness, whatever else. There was this so-called person, which is not there. And then that so-called story or life is just evaporating. That's really what's happening. So what you saw was, instead of what people think are actual real things, because there's nothing, it's just energy. I can't explain. How do I even do it? So yeah, say my past was one little thing, and there it was, poof. And then this incident was one